Thanks.
You're good to go.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Chris. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, May 21st. It is 1 p.m. and we are live on a digital platform. Present from City Council, we have Eric Biter and Liz Mealy from the Finance Committee. That's me, Liz. Randy Allison won't be able to make it today, and Bonnie Katz from the general full body of City Council. From the administration, we have Skip Memmy, Valerie Fessler, Justin Snyder from the police department, and then I saw Jamie Schroeder here as well from CEDACOG. All right, and I think that about sums up our attendance today. Chris Black, of course, from IT, and Janice Frank out there as well from the city. We have 4 items on our agenda today. Up first is a grant application for Young's Woods from DCED. Ms. Fessler, I'm assuming that you'll be taking this one?
Yes, I will. Thank you. We spoke earlier this year about the project taking place at Young's Woods, and at that time we were applying for a grant application through DCNR for 50% of the funds. And at this point, we are applying for some of that match funding through a DCED grant called GTRP. So the maximum grant amount is $250,000, which would get us on our way to that match. The total project is just a little over $800,000. So we applied for $403,000 through DCNR, and the $250,000 will get us close to our match. We're also working, and I had mentioned previously this year, with a local foundation that focuses on healthcare and all-inclusive amenities, and they've given us a verbal commitment of kind of putting in that balance of that 153. So if all things add up, we'll have 250 from GTRP. We've already spoken with the folks at DCNR regarding our Young's Woods application, and they were very favorable to our application. They don't make the final decision. It's actually the National Park Service. So they recommended it for funding to the National Park Service, but we won't hear back from them until September. So that's sort of where we're at in this process. And now we're just asking for permission to submit the GTRP grant in the amount of $250,000.
Okay, thanks very much. Eric, do you have any questions about this item?
I do not. All seems pretty straightforward. Appreciate what you're doing with it, Valerie.
Great, thank you.
And I have just a couple of questions, Valerie. I know
Sure.
Once upon a time it used to be that you weren't allowed to match state funds with other state funds, but that isn't the case with these 2 grant pools.
That is the case in general, but the DCNR funding is actually through the National Park Service. So that is considered federal funding that goes through DCNR. So they're actually,
okay.
yeah, yep, that's the catch there. That's the kicker. So yeah, that I did speak to DCNR about that because that was my understanding as well, but they encouraged us to go for the GTRP funding, and they were in favor of that. So we should be just fine with that.
Got it. And obviously, if we fail to get the DCNR grant but get the GTRP funding, we have some sort of plan to make the project. I mean, that is to say the GTRP funding won't be contingent on the DCNR funding or vice versa, correct?
That's correct. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right, excellent. And I'm assuming we can scale back the project and maybe try to find some local dollars to kick into it if one of the 2 funding streams falls through.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Good. Yeah, no, obviously if we could make this a $0 commitment for the city, that would be a delightful way to rehabilitate, to improve a city park. But so hopefully that happens. All right. Yes. Thanks, Valerie. Bonnie, did you have anything you wanted to ask about this? All right.
No, Liz, I'm sorry. No, I couldn't reach my button. No, straightforward.
I'm sorry, I keep like throwing people under the bus there and then looking at me like, oh, they're muted. That's gonna be a minute. Right. Okay, sounds good. All right, then. Then
Thank
the
you.
next item on our, thank you very much, Valerie. The next item on our agenda then is the resolution to approve a fiscal year and annual action plan for CDBG and home investment for 2024. Skip, can you go ahead and get this started?
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Maley, and good afternoon to the Finance Committee. We're here again doing the annual action plan as we have done in the past. We present the resolution to you. The allocation for this year for CDBG is $1,005,173, and the home allocation is $224,383. The reduction in CDBG is from last year is $18,827, and in home $83,461. The CDBG projects are the second year's funding for the Little League Boulevard reconstruction project, which will get us up to the $750,000 mark thereabouts. The Elm Park improvements, which will be for tennis court rehabilitation, ADA compliant walking trails and restrooms, and owner occupied single family rehab for $50,000, administration for $201,000. The home projects are single family home renovations in the tune of $96,946, home buyer assistance at $75,000, Habitat for Humanity housing construction at $30,000, and administration at $22,438. This has been put together over a period of time with the assistance of CEDACOG, and as you indicated, Jamie's here on the call, and we're both here to take any questions.
Sorry about that, Skip. Couldn't get myself off mute. All right. Eric and/or Bonnie, do you have any questions on this item?
The only question that I have is why the reduction in the funding year over year?
It's how whatever the budget process gets us to. It has nothing to do with any of the entities that receive funding. It's a matter of the amount of dollars that Congress puts into the budget, and then the allocation is distributed as it is every year, year over year. So it's just a project, a matter of what the government makes available to housing and urban development. It isn't an issue that Williamsport didn't deserve it or whatever. It's just a matter of the full dollar allocation, and then it gets distributed by formula.
Got it. And so it's not correlated to, say, the census and population or anything like that. That's not what.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Or to demonstrate a need. Okay. So our parameters there haven't changed in a while. Is that correct, Skip?
Yes, ma'am. As far as I know.
Okay. Because I mean, there is some correlation, right?
Yes,
okay.
There is, but okay. Philadelphia and Washington make those decisions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, right. I know that's not within our control, but that's not the cause of these reductions.
I'm sure census has something to do with it, but the total dollars put into the budget for housing and urban development were less this year than the prior year.
Yeah.
Okay. They've been going down year over year for a while.
Yeah. And these are firm numbers then for 2024?
Yes, ma'am. We waited to bring the action plan to you until we had the appropriate allocation numbers, They listed them on their website, and then Jamie put together the budget and the allocation, and we forwarded to you for approval.
Hey, Skip, maybe you sent it to us via email and I missed it. That happens a lot. But the action plan certainly isn't on in our Dropbox account. Could you possibly send us all that we got really was the memo outlining the funding concepts and the resolution. So maybe it is somewhere else and I just missed it. But if you haven't sent it to us directly, could you possibly?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that we reviewed an action plan a couple of months ago. Has it, I'm assuming only the dollar amounts have changed, or has any of the scope changed?
The scope, the projects are the same, the scope hasn't changed, and
okay.
we're doing larger projects instead of
right.
a lot of smaller projects because of making sure that we're in compliance. It's a lot easier to manage 1 or 2 or 3 projects than it is 15 small projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one last weird little question. Home administration is capped at 10%. Is that?
Home is at 15, I believe, right, Jamie?
Oh, okay.
It's 10.
It's 10. Okay, my fault. My bad.
Okay. I was gonna say it seemed like it was 10% as far as the numbers went, and I wasn't sure whether we for some reason weren't using all the administrative dollars there, or if that was what it was. Got it. All righty. And then I think that's about it in terms of my questions on the action plan. What specific items are we doing at Elm Park? I apologize.
Elm Park,
You said-
we're resurfacing the tennis courts. We're going to be adding ADA compliant walking paths and ADA compliant restroom facilities.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's good, especially since that should be put back to us here. Okay. All right. Hearing no other questions, we'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And item number 3 on our agenda is a resolution to hire 2 police officers. Chief Snyder.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Okay, I'm bringing to City Council a resolution for the hiring of 2 police officers, and I'm looking for your consideration and confirmation for the hire of those 2 candidates. Both these candidates have completed all the requirements for employment here with the Williamsport Bureau of Police. And we have 2, and I can go into brief bios if you would like me to now, or just hold off till City Council. But their effective start dates would be this upcoming Monday, May 27th. One is already a police officer and has Act 120 certification. Will be able to start and hit the street right away. The other is going to have to get his Act 120 certification, and is going to have to attend the academy, which they just are starting this month. And so we would look to be this fall where that person would hit the street for Williamsport Police. Right now, I'll open up the floor for any questions that you may have about the 2 additional officers we're looking to hire.
Thanks, Chief.
Yes.
Eric, Bonnie, any questions from either of you?
I have a couple of questions. Chief, I see where candidate day is, he comes from Reading, which is, he is going to be moving into the area, which it sounds a stupid question to ask, but he'd have to, right?
Well, he's already in the area. So he's a Lycoming County graduate, or excuse me, Lycoming College graduate, and just graduated from there. So he's actually from here, but his residence list as Reading.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So he will be residing.
the other question I have is the civil service list seems to get smaller and smaller.
It does. Unfortunately, just where we're at in today's day and age, we're taking measures to remedy that and working on recruiting. And we're actually doing it right now. Our list has expired since then with the putting on of these 2 officers, and we just opened up our application process. But we're just in a day and age. It's not like it was 20, 25 years ago where you had 100 applicants, sometimes, 100+ applicants. Now we're getting less and less, but I will say we're getting some good quality applicants, but we are plugging away, trying to keep working out our recruiting. I put a team together that we have going out to all the academies to look for those that are pre-service, and then hitting the colleges, looking for those that might want to pursue a career in law enforcement. So it's a challenge we're accepting. It is a little bit difficult. They do tend to get a little bit smaller as we go, but we're working on it. And I'm bringing forth two great candidates. We've actually gotten a handful of good candidates off of this list that very, very proud of. So
They're really so young. They're 23 years old each. The one that's how long does it take to go through the academy? I can't remember.
it's about 5.5 to 6 months. So coming up this fall, be about October, November, where he'll hit the street with us and then start our FTO program, our field training officer program.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yes. And just to put out there as well, this we're budgeted for 51. This will put us up to 50. So yeah, we're still continued. Obviously, I said the service civil service list expired, so we're going to be looking from this next list to get our 51st hire, and then we will have a couple of retirements that we're going to have to look into and then replace here in the near future within the next year or two. So
I feel like every employer has been playing catch up for about 5 years now, Chief Snyder.
yes, yes.
Yeah. And I will say that I think this civil service list actually is more robust than a few that we had maybe 2018, 2019, when it really seemed like we do a civil service list and there'd be maybe 6 or 8 people on it in total.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think things are already looking up and the outreach efforts are working. Were either of these candidates that we recruited? I noticed they were both from the local college. That was why I was curious.
Yeah, they're both local. Actually, the second candidate, he was our intern. And after completing our internship here, I encouraged him to take our test to have options. And I know he was still in school at the time when the initial test was provided back in 2023, I believe it was. And then life just worked out the way it was. So when he came up on the list, he was just graduating. He just graduated this last month from coming college. So opened up the opportunity that he wanted to take advantage of. So we're fortunate enough to bring him on.
That's perfect timing. Excellent. And familiar with the candidate, which is also exciting.
Yes.
That's a good position to be in. Okay. Excellent. So this will get our complement to 50. We're hoping to get to 51 with the next list, and then we'll see what the retirements bring.
Yes.
Okay. Get there someday, Chief. All right.
Right.
But this is exciting, and I look forward to the candidates will be at Thursday's meeting, correct?
Yes, correct.
They just won't be getting sworn in. Okay. I look forward to meeting the candidates sometime. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add on this item?
Chief Snyder, this is Jamie at CEDACOG. I just wanted to bring up that I've been at several Sunbury meetings lately, and they are doing some recruiting efforts, some different programs, some grant or something that pays part of the guys going to the academy. If you want to reach out to Chief Brummagem, he might be able to. I'm sure you're already on all of that, but
I already talked to him.
great,
So.
perfect. Just wanted to share the little I knew.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's a challenging environment for law enforcement right now. But I think in some ways we might have an advantage being, in a rural area versus being in a city. It's a slightly less challenging environment than it could be in a more urban area. So that's an upside. Anyway, thanks, Chief. We're excited to meet these two guys on Thursday.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Okay, if I hear nothing further than out there, there's only one further item remaining on the agenda, which is any related items. Does anyone have anything else to introduce for the good of the order? Or whatever you call it? Hearing nothing else from out there, I think we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and I look forward to seeing everyone in person on Thursday. Thanks very much for coming, folks. Jamie, we won't see you in person on Thursday. Just call in, please.
Absolutely. I will zoom in.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll see y'all on Thursday then. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Liz.
Yeah,
Have a great
bye-bye.
rest of your day.
You too. Bye.